Rain hammered the shattered metal of the landing platform as John Carter stood, his boots sinking into the rust-colored mud of Zenta Prime. Above him, the massive spires of the alien fortress loomed like obsidian fangs against the stormy sky. He had come unarmed, deliberately. No rifle, no plasma pistol, not even a blade. He wanted them to know this wasn't a sneak attack. This was a warning. The alien guards, towering insectoid beings with glistening exoskeletons, clacked their mandibles at him as he approached. Their spears hissed with crackling energy. Beyond them, in the heart of the fortress, the alien princess languished, chained and unconscious. She was not their enemy. She had been betrayed by her own kind, sold out by a faction within her court, and John had vowed to protect her. "You have one chance," John called out over the storm. His voice echoed off the black walls. "Release the princess. Now, or everything you've built here will crumble." The aliens hissed laughter, a shrill, metallic sound like knives on glass. One step forward, its many eyes narrowing. "You dare threaten the Hive Sovereignty, human? You stand alone. You have no army, no weapons." John's jaw tightened. "I don't need an army. You're making a mistake. The princess isn't just your prisoner. She's your lifeline." A second guard jabbed its spear toward him. "Turn back or die." He didn't move. "Last warning," he said, his voice low and steady. "If you hurt her, there'll be no going back. You know what I'm capable of." Hashtag inside the fortress. Deep within the labyrinthine halls, the alien princess stirred. Lysara's silver hair clung to her pale blue skin, matted with a residue of stasis gel. Her crystalline shackles pulsed with binding energy, draining her strength. She wasn't supposed to be here. Her capture was a political disaster. Her marriage alliance to the human colonies was supposed to end the decades-long conflict between their species. Now, instead of being an ambassador of peace, she was a hostage. She could sense him, even through the layers of stone and steel. She felt John's presence like a beacon. He had kept his promise. He had come for her. Hashtag the Hive Council. In the fortress's throne chamber, a circle of alien nobles watched John's approach on a holographic display. Their bodies were swathed in dark silk that glistened like oil. The oldest among them, the High Regent, clicked his claws in irritation. "This human is a relic of their war machine," the Regent hissed. "He thinks he can bargain with us." "He has a reputation," murmured another. The clicking of her mandibles slower, more thoughtful. "They call him the Ghost of Orpheon. One man, 100 victories. He once leveled an entire colony shipyard by himself." "A myth," snapped the Regent. "We are the Hive Sovereignty. We do not bow to humans." They all turned as a young noble entered, his carapace painted in ceremonial blue. "He's not bluffing," the noble said. "Our intelligence confirms he destroyed the Dominion garrison on Rixon with nothing but a stolen transport. If he says we're making a mistake—" "Silence," the Regent commanded. "Prepare the execution pits. We will make an example of him." Hashtag the warning. Back on the landing platform, the guards closed in, their energy spears glowed brighter. The wind howled, whipping John's coat around his legs. He could feel the fortress's energy field hum beneath the surface. His eyes flicked to the spire where he knew the princess was being held. "I'm not your enemy," he said again, more softly this time. "I'm trying to stop what's coming. If she dies, the treaty dies with her. The humans will retaliate. The war you've been dreading will start all over again." The lead guard raised its spear. "Enough talk." John sighed. "I gave you a chance." With a flick of his wrist, the signal detonator in his palm sent a coded pulse through the air. Above the fortress, 3 cloaked ships shimmered into view, their hulls bristling with weapons. They weren't human warships. They were automated drones, scavenged from battlefields, modified by John himself. Not enough to win a war, but enough to send a message. The guards froze. Their compound eyes glittered with sudden fear. "Release her," John said, "or I start tearing this place apart, one tower at a time." Hashtag the princess's escape. In her cell, Lysara felt the tremors as the drones fired their first warning shots. Explosions rattled the walls. Dust fell from the ceiling. She knew this wasn't a rescue by an army. This was John's style. Bold, surgical, reckless. She closed her eyes and focused. Though the shackles drained her, her telepathic gifts were still faintly active. She sent a mental whisper into the storm. John. "I'm here, asterisk." He heard her, through the roar of battle. He felt her voice brush against his mind. "Hold on," he thought back. "I'm coming." Hashtag breach. The fortress erupted into chaos. Alien guards scrambled to man anti-air weapons, but John's drones danced between the bolts of plasma, returning precise bursts that disabled rather than destroyed. He didn't want to kill more than he had to. He wanted to make a point. Using the distraction, he sprinted toward the main gate, activating the stealth harness on his belt. His form shimmered, blending with the rain. The guard sensors flickered. By the time they realized he was gone, he was already inside. Corridors of dark stone and glowing veins of energy stretched ahead of him. He moved like a shadow, disarming guards with quick, efficient strikes. He didn't kill them. He stunned them with shock pulses from a hidden wristband. Hashtag confrontation. At the heart of the fortress, The High Regent awaited him. The alien towered over John, armored in ceremonial black, with staff crackling with violet energy. Behind him, the princess still hung in her restraints. "You are a fool," the regent hissed. "Do you think saving her will stop what's coming? You are already too late." John's eyes darted to Lysara. She looked weak but conscious, her silver eyes meeting his. "I told you," John said, leveling his wristband at the regent. "I don't want to fight you. Just release her. She is our bargaining chip," the regent snarled. "With her, we dictate the future. Without her, we lose everything." "You already lost everything the moment you kidnapped her," John replied. "You just don't know it yet." The regent lunged, his staff striking like a thunderbolt. John dove aside, rolling to his feet. Energy sizzled past his shoulder. He fired a pulse from his wristband, knocking the staff from the regent's claws. In the chaos, he darted to the princess and ripped open the shackles with a plasma cutter hidden in his boot. The restraints hissed and fell away. Lysara stumbled, but he caught her. "I told you I'd come," he murmured. "I never doubted you," she whispered. Hashtag escape. Together they ran, dodging bolts of energy as the regent's guards swarmed into the chamber. John threw a flash charge, blinding them long enough to slip into the corridor. Lysara, though weakened, began to use her powers, creating shimmering barriers of psychic energy that deflected incoming fire. "You're still strong," John said, impressed. "For you, I am," she replied with a faint smile. They reached the outer wall, just as his drone swooped in. One extended a magnetic line. John clipped it to Lysara's harness, then his own. The drone lifted them both into the stormy sky as plasma bolts streaked past. Hashtag the reckoning. From above, John sent one last transmission to the fortress. His voice carried across their comm channels. "I warned you. You should have listened. I'm sparing you now because she asked me to. But if you ever come for her again, if you ever break the treaty, I won't hold back." He cut the line, leaving the Hive Sovereignty in stunned silence. Hashtag aftermath. On the outskirts of Zenta Prime, John's ship waited in a hidden canyon. As they landed, Lysara leaned heavily on him, still regaining her strength. "You risked everything," she said softly. "For me? I risked everything for peace," John corrected. "You're the key to that peace." She looked at him with a glimmer of sadness. "But they won't forgive this." "They don't have to," he said, guiding her up the ramp. "They just have to understand. Sometimes the only way to stop a war is to remind them what losing feels like." As the ship lifted off, the fortress burned in the distance, not destroyed but scarred. A warning carved in fire. Lysara rested her head on his shoulder. "You're still the same reckless human I met all those years ago. And you're still the princess who keeps me from becoming a monster," he replied with a tired smile. Beyond the clouds, the stars awaited. A galaxy still on the brink, but with a fragile hope shining at its center. John had done what he came to do. He had warned them. They hadn't listened. But now, maybe, they finally understood.